How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. I am Jason C, and if you're a subscriber, really glad to see you here again. If it's your first time here, looking for the latest in bourbon and whiskey news and reviews, you have found the right channel. So think about hitting that subscribe button below, and also think about hitting that bell notification so you know when I am putting out a new video. Today, I'm really excited. We're going to be reviewing the brand new Old Forester Straight Rye Whiskey. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so with $5,500 in saved and borrowed money, George Garvin Brown, a young pharmaceutical salesman in Louisville, Kentucky, started JTS Brown & Brothers with his half-brother. Old Forester Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey was the flagship brand. Now, after several name changes and the ending of the original partnership, George Garvin entered in a partnership with George Foreman, his accountant and friend. And Brown-Forman was then created. Now, in 1870, George Garvin Brown revolutionized the industry by sealing bourbon in a glass bottle for the first time. Pretty cool. So now, 5 generations and nearly 150 years later, Old Forester has introduced their first Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. Now, Old Forester Rye Whiskey, according to those behind it, is the Kentucky Distillery's first new grain recipe in nearly 150 years. It is inspired by the historic recipe for Normandy Rye, a brand which Brown-Forman acquired in 1940. Now, the mash bill consists of 65% rye, 20% malted barley, and 15% corn. So that's a pretty unique mash bill they're using. It's definitely a higher rye at 65%, but the second most dominant grain is malted barley. Now, according to their website, such a high proportion of barley allows for a fully natural fermentation process, foregoing the need for artificial enzymes commonly found in high rye mash bills. Now, additionally, a generous percentage of malt yields a unique floral character, balancing the sharp and spice of the rye grain. So Old Forester Rye is a Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey created by master distiller Chris Morris, who is famous for his work at Woodford Reserve, and master taster Jackie Zycan. So Old Forester master taster Jackie Zycan said that the spicy yet floral complexity of this expression offers a completely different flavor profile than its bourbon cousin. At 100 proof, it plays beautifully in cocktails, but also stands up boldly on its own. All right, guys, so here's a close-up of the Old Forester Kentucky Straight Rye bottle. As you can see, it's got that nice, bold, green, 100 proof rye label on there. Really love the bottle design. As I mentioned, the mash bill consists of 65% rye, 20% malted barley, and 15% corn. Old Forester Rye Whiskey is now available nationwide with an MSRP of only $22.99, which I think is just awesome. So let's open this a little bit here. The twist cap. All right, let's get a pour. All right, here we go. All right, guys, I'm really excited to try this one. The mash bill is so unique, and I really love what Old Forester is doing with this. They're extending their already great line of bourbons and whiskeys rather than making this a special release. You know, they have the distribution where this will be pretty widely available, and at only MSRP of about 23 bucks. You know, you can't really beat the price point. So let's get into the nose and let's see what we got. Here we go. Wow, it's really coming off as super floral and super lemony right off the bat. Ton of lemon zest and citrus. There is some of that nice brown sugar sweetness you're getting also on the nose. There's that slight hint of that quintessential cocoa that I still get usually on an Old Forester, which I really like. It's almost like little chocolate covered lemon zests. Really, really floral. Almost. I'm not going to say it smells just like a scotch, but I think that higher percentage of barley is definitely coming through a little bit, which gives you kind of that lemony and maybe a little bit of a honey flavor on there. It's got a really nice nose. But I would think the lemon and the brown sugar, a little bit of oak is really kind of the dominant force there on the nose. So I'm ready for my first taste, so cheers. Here we go. Wow, that's pretty different. It's got this, not what I expected at first on the palate. It's got a really nice cinnamon allspice kick right up front. And then it really mellows out, and then you get those really nice floral barley and then that lemon zest right there in the end. Really good in the first sip. All right, let's go in for the second sip and let's see what we get. Cheers. Oh yeah. Wow, the cinnamon and nutmeg, allspice, those baking spices are really prevalent up front. And then, man, right on the end, you get that really nice lemon zest and black pepper that you normally get on a rye. I'm not getting any of those quintessential, I get a lot of, normally when I drink a rye, I'll get a lot of licorice, stuff like that. Not really getting it too much on here. All right, guys, let's go in for one last sip here. Cheers. Yeah, so the flavors are really just staying true with the more I sip on it. Sometimes flavors can kind of flatten out, dissipate a little bit. But on this one, you're definitely getting a really nice cinnamon, allspice, brown sugar, really right up front. And then as it finishes out, that lemon zest and that honey from the barley comes through. A little bit of black pepper there on the very end. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's a long finish at all. It's kind of a medium finish, but it feels longer than it is because that lemon and pepper flavor just kind of stays around and it's just kind of sticking to the back of the palate there, making you want to drink more. Really, really delicious stuff. It's for 23 bucks. This is an absolute great rye whiskey. I'm really loving this. All right, guys, so let's compare this with one of my favorite ryes in the world, which is Rittenhouse Rye. It's a completely different mash bill than the Old Forester, but both are going to be playing in that space of budget ryes that are really accessible, really easy to drink, great as mixers. Both are in that $25 range. Rittenhouse Rye has been one of my favorites for a long time. Now, Rittenhouse Rye is from Heaven Hill. It's definitely got a different mash bill. The mash bill on this is 51% rye, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley. Way different than the mash bill here for Old Forester. So let's do a quick comparison of the two and see how they stack up. So let's go to the nose. So on the Rittenhouse, it's definitely sweeter on the nose. I think that the lower rye, the higher corn, it's definitely giving it a little bit more of a fruit-forward profile, definitely sweeter. You're definitely getting some of the rye spice there, but it's not as prevalent here as it is on the Old Forester. As this opens up, this is becoming, you're definitely getting more of that rye spice, but that lemon zest, that little bit of a chocolate note, that honey flavor, I think, from the barley is really coming through. Yeah, it's amazing the difference in the noses. The Rittenhouse is definitely more fruit forward, maybe a little peach, a little, like a slight hint of banana even too on the Rittenhouse. Whereas this is just all lemon zest, rye, chocolate, so a good amount of baking spices on here. Both have phenomenal noses though. So let's go to the palate. Cheers. Yeah, totally different flavor profile. So this definitely has a much more fruit-forward flavor profile. It's got a good amount of oak to it, and you definitely get a nice rye spice kick on the end. But I feel like this one kind of stays with you a little bit more. Let's compare it to this one. Yeah, this one, the rye spice on this is lingering more. So if you like that in a rye, you like a little bit more honey flavor, maybe some that cinnamon spice. This is really kind of really doing a number on the back of my palate here, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's really good. Let's go in for another sip here. Yeah, so the Rittenhouse to me is just more fruit forward. See, in the Rittenhouse, for me, you're getting that little bit of a licorice flavor right on the end there, that rye spice, which is surprising because this is a lower rye than the Old Forester. This is only 51% rye. But I think that corn and the barley really kind of round it out and make it sweeter. Whereas this, it's a higher rye, get that 65% rye. But I think the higher concentration of barley in here is what's really rounding out those flavors, giving it some great baking spice, some honey flavor in there, the brown sugars, but that lemon zest, along with that little bit of a cocoa spice to it, is really kind of putting it over the edge for me. And I love what it's doing on the back of the palate in this bottle here. It's that beautiful lemon zest and black pepper note. Both are phenomenal ryes. If I had to actually lean to one or the other, I'm actually leaning towards the Old Forester, just because I really love that higher rye spice kick, and that lemon zest and honey finish is just delicious. All right, guys, so I have one more test for both of these bottles. I think because they're a budget rye whiskeys, but I think where they're really gonna shine is also in cocktails. So let's try that. All right, guys, so as you can see, I made a couple cocktails here. I made some old fashions to see how the two ryes would go in the old fashions. My buddy of mine named Jim has a really good mixer. He takes some Demerara sugar, some cherry bitters, and some old fashioned bitters, kind of mixes that together, cooks it down, add some rye whiskey or some bourbon, add some orange peel, and you got a really nice old fashioned. So have a nice big chunk of ice cube in there. It's been sitting. So let's see how the cocktails compare between the Old Forester Rye and the Rittenhouse Rye. So this is the Old Forester. Well, that's really nice in the cocktail. You could definitely taste the rye. You know what? That black pepper still comes through a little bit. So I try not to make mine too sweet because I really want to taste the rye whiskey in there. Let's try the Rittenhouse. Yeah, the Rittenhouse comes off more sweeter than this. Yeah, you could definitely taste that difference in sweetness. So when I was drinking them straight, the Rittenhouse came off as definitely sweeter, a little bit more of a fruitier profile, whereas this gives you that really nice honey, the brown sugar, and that lemon zest, but that really nice rye characteristic. And I think you could kind of taste that slightly in the Old Fashioned. Take one more sip here. Yeah, the Old Forester slightly, you could get a little bit more of a rye kick there. I mean, yeah, the sweetness in there, the orange, it's going to cover up some of the, some of the details that you're going to get when you're drinking it straight. But there are some notes in there that you do get when you have it straight. Definitely that little bit of a lemon and black pepper zest in there. Really nice. On the Rittenhouse, yeah, the Rittenhouse just comes off as just a little bit sweeter. Still delicious. Both are amazing. I think if you like a sweeter old fashioned or a sweeter rye, the Rittenhouse definitely does the job. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a rye spice, maybe something a little bit different, a little bit more lemony, the Old Forester is definitely where it's at. And for me, I think in the cocktail, I think Old Forester has to take it a little bit slightly, just because it's not overly sweet, and I really love that rye kick in there. Wow, Old Forester for the win. I mean, both are still good, but really love this. All right, guys, so what can I say? Old Forester Straight Rye Whiskey is really, really good. I think that combination of the mash bill, that really unique mash bill where it's a really high barley content as opposed to the corn in there, it just really plays well, especially in the cocktail. I think that really nice combination that barley gives you between that honey character, the baking spices, but that black peppery lemon zest that you get on the palate, it's just really delicious. Rittenhouse will always be one of my favorites, but it's definitely on the sweeter side now compared to this. And I really like the way this plays in both the cocktail and also straight. For $23, you can't go wrong. I love what Old Forester is doing by extending their line rather than making this a special release. Old Forester has Brown-Forman, has amazing distribution. This will be available everywhere for you to try. So for $23, it's a no-brainer. Definitely grab it, especially if you like ryes. Try it in cocktails. It's really, really good. All right, guys, well, thanks again for stopping by and watching this review of the brand new Old Forester Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button below. Please hit that like button. Find me on Instagram, and you can also find me on Twitter. Let me know if you've had this, if you've had it in a cocktail, if you've had it straight, what you think, if you're getting those same flavors that I'm getting. And I love hearing from you guys, so definitely let me know what you think. And as I always say, it is not about the whiskey, it is the people you share it with. So cheers, everyone, and I'll see you next time.